Hello everybody, welcome to the IPL Dishout. We're thrilled to have Mr. Atul Wassan with us, who obviously represents India in both tests and one-dayers and had a fabulous domestic career, picking up over 200 wickets and scoring a domestic century as well, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here. Can you tell us, given the way you played cricket, right? You were obviously a fast bowler and you enjoyed bowling, but you also like to bat and you did pretty well with the bat. Do you think that the IPL would have been a perfect platform for someone like you?
Well, I think so. When we look back, and a lot of players mention it because I used to open the batting and bowling, because that time just the pinch hitting fashion just came around, and those early overs used to be, needed to be utilized. So I was propped up, and sometimes when you used to play in Delhi, in early morning, the wicket used to be wet. So our big guns, they didn't want to actually expose themselves, like Raman Lamba and all those. You go and bat. So I got a couple of centuries, just trying to hit big. And I used to play in county cricket. I played about 12, 14 years, so there I used to bat a lot. So that was a good experience, and I wish that IPL had come around a couple of decades earlier, so we could have also actually made a name for ourselves. But it's a transition. The game has evolved, and I feel happy for these guys who can actually say that cricket is a career.
True. And can you tell us the first impressions of this year's IPL season? What do you think of the teams who performed so far?
Yeah, right now we are in the early phase where we are just registering which player has gone where, because of the churn. Because we had, started to associate a player with a particular franchise, it's up in the air right now. So you're watching it for the cricket content. Some teams have, retained their core. Yeah. Which I'm sure will actually do better than other teams. But somehow the perennial underdogs or underachievers, Delhi Daredevils and Kings 11, does not matter what they do. Yeah. Doesn't seem to work for them,
So let's just go over some of the top stories. Chennai Super Kings have had a fabulous start to this year's IPL. They won both their games so far, and they've retained their core, as you mentioned.
Well, it always works out for them. I don't know, you can't say that they find the player when they need it, and Dwayne Bravo just turned the game around, and Chennai does it so often that either it's the dressing room confidence or it's Mahendra Singh Dhoni's presence, and people have got over expectations from Dhoni as a player. His impact, I don't think so, will be on the field. His impact is as a leader, and also, I'm not a big fan of captaincy in T20. It's just intuition, and Dhoni has it. He's got that magic. But that game was amazing. So they just snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, and they've done it more often. And you'll find that teams who have retained their core, they've got their fan base in place even after 2 years of a gap. They've just hit the road running. So I think that's a danger sign for other teams.
But don't you think it's rather heartbreaking for their fans? 10,000 fans turned up for a practice game in Chennai recently, and now the recent news that they won't be playing the rest of the games. How much will that affect their campaign? That's a very important point.
I don't think so. Cricket will suffer. They might just probably lose out 5-7% of that home pitch advantage because their cricket is based around that kind of pitch where Ravindra Jadeja and the likes, actually Harbhajan Singh is with them. So that kind of bounce spinners like. But it's sad because I was in the thick of the action. I was on many debates, and I thought it was very saddening for the fans. And all these political parties taking this mileage out and saying that voluntarily reject this, but the fans did turn out. So it was egg on the face on all the fringe groups. They're trying to create mileage out of cricket, and cricket has been used as a vehicle for people to vent their issues, which is a problem for me. I hope that we don't succumb to this hooliganism, and IPL shifting out was a good practical choice because IPL doesn't want this headache of logistics and security issues. So they have done well. I don't think so it'll affect Chennai's chances, but it's shocking for the fans,
So while this might not affect Chennai's chances, they've had two crucial injuries. Kedar Jadhav, who did well in the first game, scored the winning runs, and Suresh Raina, IPL's all-time leading run scorer.
Well, Raina will be a big miss. He's just made a comeback. He's batting well. He's always found his chutzpah when he gets into his yellow jersey. But the best thing about IPL is the squads are big. And it might be just a blessing in disguise. They might just find a new star, and they have to actually get the new generation in. So these two places, Kedar Jadhav also won that game for them. But they will not do it every game. So they have to find the players who will take the baton further. Yeah. And all the teams should be actually focusing on the young players coming through who will be match winners in the coming seasons.
Moving on to a team you mentioned earlier, the Kings 11 Punjab. Obviously at the auction, it looked at one point like they wanted to buy every player. But in their first game, KL Rahul, 11 crores. Pressure, what pressure? He just stepped onto the field and smashed the ball out of the park.
Wonderful to see a player like that, and that is a good advertisement for T20. It's not a game for sluggers. People earlier thought that anybody who can talk big will get runs. We saw Paul Valthati and some players getting a name. But eventually, good players will last in shorter format also. I just did this T10 league in Dubai, and all, the big players were all the players who were playing test cricket and one day cricket for their countries. So it's just not the big sloggers who will take the name. So I think KL Rahul is something, his game is an extension of his test game. And it's pleasing to find players like that, than youngsters to emulate, because his game is so pure. He got that 100, I remember, in Florida.
Yeah.
And now this 50, so his strokes were beautiful. The timing is paramount. So I think players like him and Virat Kohli will prove that this game is not just for sloggers.
One thing that Punjab's done well is they brought in depth. For example, Chris Gayle didn't play the first game. But to have someone like Chris Gayle just to call upon, do you think it augurs good things for Punjab in this season going forward?
I don't actually rate Chris Gayle at all now, because he's just a show pony now, because he's just that looks good, like a model. But, when you really need the big guns to get performers, you got to send in the troops, because Chris Gayle might just come off in 6 or 7 games. That is not a good ratio.
Yeah.
You can't actually invest in a player like that, So he's a big name. He has been there, done it, got the t-shirt, but I don't think so that he'll find a regular place in the squad.
One thing they've done well is investing in youth. Mujib Rahman, the 17-year-old Afghan sensation. You were telling us earlier, you had a fascinating story.
Yeah, because, I just did this Under-19 Asia Cup finals in Kuala Lumpur. I was called by the channel, so they were just televising it live. So I went there not knowing much about the players. India had lost badly, they were out of the tournament, so it was a big shock. Pakistan, Afghanistan finals, this guy just comes up, takes 6 wickets, bowls out Pakistan. He did the same to Pakistan in league stages. And it was just wonderful. So there and then I called Rahul Sangvi, who was my teammate in Delhi, who's running the Mumbai team. I said, I've got a player for you. So he said, okay, if you think he's good. I said, yeah, I think he's brilliant. He's a young boy from Afghanistan. So you must get him for a trial. So I fixed the trial. So I did the presentation, and he was man of the match. And in that, I announced that I've got you a trial for IPL team.
Wow.
But it just went on so fast. Then he played T20 in T10 in Dubai. He was picked up Afghanistan, and he's suddenly become a big star. So before we knew, everybody knew about him. So there is nothing which is hidden in the world these days. In the talent scouts, if they find somebody, immediately everybody gets to know. So there's no secret. And so glad to see that such talent, coming from Afghanistan and other places also.
Yeah, at the end of the day, IPL is all about the talent. Moving on to a team that just doesn't seem to know how to win. It's rather unfortunate, but the Delhi Daredevils, new captain, Gautam Gambhir, great player, but they've not started well. 2 losses in 2.
Yeah, I can't put a finger on it, so many seasons, because I'm a Delhi boy, I've been involved in, and I'm chairman of selectors now, and Gautam was there. And Gautam, they primarily got him as a captain, everybody knows that Gautam is also, like many other players, who pass their prime. They can add value by bringing in the players, giving the confidence, leading them, showing the way. And I think somehow I will still not write off Delhi yet. They've got the players. I've got big faith in Rishabh Pant also, who I've been seeing and I've been grooming, as a captain. I also want to get more responsibility. This season he didn't have a very good season, but he's a quality player. He's got the time, he's got the power. So I hope that the investment Delhi has made in retaining him, he has to pay back. Shreyas Iyer is somebody who has to actually take his game one notch higher. So they've got the players. Chris Morris is somebody who's always dangerous. So they might just bring it together. So I've still got my hopes high.
Any word on their superstar acquisition, Glenn Maxwell? If he finds form, they could be a real threat.
Again, he's very erratic for me, brilliant player. At times you'll see, oh wow, and suddenly you say, what is wrong with you? And I think Australia also is tearing their hair out, because he's just, not consistent enough to be rated in the top bracket. He's got these brilliant knocks, even in test matches. But somehow he has to get it right in his mind, He has to see how, Shikhar Dhawan changed his game around. He was also very erratic. He was left out of the Indian team. The way he has made a comeback, he has to take a leaf out of the players like David Warner. All 3 formats. So he's got to find that, what am I doing wrong? Is my ball selection not good enough? Am I not reading the situation properly? So he has to fix it in his mind.
Is the Australian head coach right now there, Ricky Ponting, is he the right man possibly to get this change in Maxwell?
Not really. I think they have played together also, and there are some mischievous angle to his lifestyle also. Probably that also hampers him, not being very focused also, maybe, with all the talent, everything has to fall into place, Like Virat Kohli, I've seen him as a 12-year-old, he came to the academy, and, he went through that phase when he was, a bit of a naughty boy. Then suddenly he realized, that if I don't do this, this is the end. And now you see, so he is a template for anybody who can't focus enough, and then see what are the results. So probably that is the key.
So anyway, things do look alright for Delhi, is the final word. Another team that's always done well, but they've gone in a completely different direction this time, Kolkata Knight Riders. It's fascinating, they have the smallest roster of just 19 players, but they have a number of stars. What have you thought so far of their performances?
Well, I think they've done well. Just to change things around is also good. They probably are not looking to win it again because, they wanted the combination right. They invested earlier and then it gave them results at the end of the 10-year, trench. So I think they've changed the leadership. Dinesh Karthik, from this performance, probably he'll take his game a notch higher. But he won't be around for a long time. So they're trying to invest in the next 4-5 years. So they've got to bring the new players. Robin Uthappa is somebody, who he has to do well, but generally they will, there are issues with the bowling. I think if they can get the bowling right, Sunil Narayan is not going to hang around for too long. So they have to find replacement. Every team needs a mystery bowler. You will find, every team who's got somebody with the wrist will eventually end up closer to the playoffs.
One positive for KKR is one player who was gone for a year, Andre Russell, and he's back with a bang. His performance unbelievable against Chennai. How do you rank him as an all-rounder?
Yeah, I've always rated him. I saw him earlier 5-6 years ago. He was doing very well in county cricket. He's a big hitter, bowls quick, and somehow he's not actually got the results. I thought he'll be a big player for West Indies, but he's erratic again. He's a party boy, and then West Indians have got this streak. So they have to learn, because I think they are probably too insecure in the mind to invest in their future. They feel that it's better to be a mercenary, and that probably takes that edge out of the game, and that's why they're not consistent. Because the board is not collective. They are different countries together, so they feel that okay, we should be pack our bags, make money. That also hampers their growth as cricketers. I don't think so that he will be there for a long time. He's past his prime. He will give you glimpses of his talent once in a while, but consistently, I don't think so he'll be a top draw performer.
And final word on Dinesh Karthik. He's coming to this IPL on an all-time high. While he's always done well in the domestic circuit and for India, but the national fame and adulation is something he's not received. So, make or break season for him?
No, not really. I think he's been the journeyman. He played for India before Dhoni, and he saw his whole career pass through. But he, because of the amount of cricket, he's always got his chances. He's been on many tours as a second wicket keeper. He's played the games in and out in various formats. He's done well, and he's a hard-working cricketer. I like cricketers like this who don't give up. He's always been in the frame. And he was out, then he got that brilliant domestic season, came back in, got a chance, and you can see his intent, the way he walks. He's in the business.
Yeah.
I like his body language a lot, and I hope he actually, translates his performance in Sri Lanka for his team now.
Things are looking good for KKR under a new captain. And those were our top stories. Moving on to the sizzling batsman of IPL 2018, Shikhar Dhawan, who you've spoken about, and he's been in remarkable form, is on top of the chart. No surprises to see him there?
I think it's too early to actually talk about the charts, because players will get one odd performance here and there. But eventually, I think you will find maybe after 3 weeks, the usual suspects, Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers will be right up there. Somehow I feel, you can't keep these players out of it. And Suresh Raina will be there, Robin Uthappa might be there. So these are the good players. I'm banking on Alex Hales also. Also, if he plays, he's somebody who's got this game for this game. Andrew Finch or even David Miller if he bats higher up. So I think there are these players you will find, because they are more consistent. Odd players might get a century or something, but consistency is the key in this game.
One player I want to mention right now, third in the charts, is Sanju Sampson. He's been in the news forever, a rising talent. He seems to have a lot of fans. May this be the year, maybe not on top, but the top 5, top 10 batsmen of the IPL?
He made his name in IPL, then did well in domestic cricket. Somehow he's not been able to crack it, and again he's not got the runs to even actually break down the door. And some players have leapfrogged ahead of him in batting stakes. Shreyas Iyer and all came after him. So somehow he might be feeling frustrated. But this is the time, if you go there, do the job, win matches, and then again you can't hope to get in the Indian team by batting in IPL. Selectors made this mistake earlier. They got too excited by first couple of seasons, picked a lot of players, but realized they don't have the game or the temperament. So what the selectors do, they watch these players, they see the talent, and they see how they translate this talent in domestic cricket, and then the players are listed or earmarked for progression. So I think Sanju Sampson has to learn. He has to actually not be an underperformer, because he's been now he's become the main player of the team. He'll be under pressure a lot of times. So he'll have to make sure that selectors keep him in mind in the mix, and then domestic cricket will be very important as well for him.
Next up, we have the most deadly bowlers of IPL 2018. Absolute surprise to the name on the top. If people are not tuned in, they might not know who he is. Mayank Markanday, 7 wickets in 2 games to Mumbai leggy.
Yeah, I think, once you're an unknown entity, you can enjoy the honeymoon for a bit. Eventually, when people work you out, then you're in trouble. And a lot of bowlers have gone through this grind. And only the top bowlers come back. In fact of people having a lot of footage about them, they still find the X Factor. Rashid is somebody, Sunil Narayan is somebody. And there are a few players I can name. But, one guy can be deadly on one day and get tongued the next day. We saw the best of the best going for a lot of runs. We've seen the best bowlers in the world going for sixes. Anybody who can't, as a fast bowler, bowl Yorkers that will struggle in this game. Now we have realized that this is not good enough. You need 2 or 3 different slower balls. We've seen the knuckle ball, we have seen the back of the hand delivery, we have seen the slow bouncers. So the game is evolving, and the bowlers are trying to be a step ahead. But this game is for the batsman. So even if you go for 7-8 runs, which is in our time was like, you would be gutted. You feel that you've done well. So I think still the wrist spinners hold the key. You'll find eventually, I will not go by the ratings right now. It's too early. The Shane Watson has got wicket. He's going to get tongued. You just watch. So the wickets are also getting, it's the early part of the season. It's not that hot. As the summer, beats down, the wickets will get slower, and it'll be hard work for the medium paces. But Rashid Khan, I think Sunil Narayan, Chahal at RCB, and all the spinners. I think Akshar is bowling really well. I saw him the other day.
Now that you mentioned Chahal, I actually have a good question. Now Chahal and Kuldeep Yadav kind of stole Ashwin and Jadeja's thunder recently for the Indian team. Now, do you see Chahal and Yadav doing better, or do you see Ashwin and Jadeja, or will it be a mix of these bowlers?
No, as I said, wrist spinners. Ashwin, did wonderfully well. He was the guy with a very nice action. His variations. He's a thinking cricketer. So he still ruled the roost for a bit. But now the time has come where he doesn't have many tricks left in the book. As a captain, he can add a lot of value. He's been there. He's been from the best all-rounders. I don't think so that they will be winning this race in the shorter formats. I think Kuldeep Yadav and Chahal is the future of Indian bowlers in the shorter format.
What's fascinating in the purple cap race is every year except one, only Pragyan Ojha is the only spinner to have won it, and the rest have been seamers. So this year, do you think it'll be a spinner or a seamer?
I think it'll be a spinner. I'm surprised at this fact you've just told me.
When I went through it, I was astonished.
I think why? Because what happens is that spinners bowl in the middle, and the medium paces more often bowl in the slog. And the slog, they go for runs. But if you see how many runs spinners have given in medium paces, you'll find that spinners in spite of taking less wickets will be more effective. So once you bowl in the slog, everybody is going for a hit, and then you tend to pick up few wickets in the end. Probably that's the reason the seamers are winning this.
Fascinating insider. Moving on to our final section, Atul Wassan's picks. In Atul Wassan's picks, we put on the predictor hat for him and ask him a few questions that he's going to answer every week. So we want to know this week, who do you think is going to be the first centurion of IPL 2018?
Well, this is a very rhetorical question. You mentioned the hat. I would rather put all the names in a hat and pick one, Because you can never actually, but if you see the players who are more likely to do it because they've done it before, Colin Munro has done it the most, I think, and he's somebody, batting wise, Virat Kohli is always up there, but somebody who might just take it away, could be Ajinkya Rahane. You will never be surprised, because I'm backing him this year, because he's got the game for it, people will be surprised, but since you see KL Rahul, he's a similar kind of a player, because anybody who's batting up the order has got more balls to face, and so openers are more likely to get 100. So I think,
And opener works, don't worry.
Openers.
So right now Chennai and Sunrisers are on top, obviously very early doors. Fascinating question to ask you now. It's very early doors in the season, but in a week or two, who do you see at the top and who at the bottom of the IPL table?
Well, I think the pace has been set by the teams which have won the most. Chennai is the team. RCB, I think, will be there. They've got a game coming up, and their big guns will kick. But I think bottom is a toss-up between Delhi and Rajasthan Royals. Rajasthan Royals, I can't seem to get my head around the combination yet. How much impact Shane Warne will have, we'll soon find out. Delhi also have struggled. Kings 11, they have lost, but they look a good team. Somehow they've got the names in there.
Yeah.
So I think if they get it right, it might be their season.
It's been fascinating to hear all your views, and we hope to see you very soon, sir. For all the fans who have tuned in, you can send in any question for Atul Wassan using the hashtag IPL Dishout in the comment section. And your host, Kaushan Raj, will be certain to ask him the next time he comes around. It's been a pleasure, sir.
Thank you.
And have a good day.
Enjoyed myself.